lining the streets, waiting for the arrival of Justin Trudeau and his new cabinet. Hi, everybody. I'm Rosemary Barton. Welcome to this CBC News special. Peter Mann's historic day for Justin Trudeau as he names his first cabinet and also for this new Liberal majority government. Let me give you a sense of where we are today as we bring you this special coverage here. There you see Parliament Hill, downtown Ottawa. Again, really an incredible fall day here in this city. And down the road, down Sussex Drive, 24 Sussex, which is of course the official residence of the Prime Minister, although not this time round. If you cross the street and head up that driveway there, that is, of course, Rideau Hall, and that is the drive where Justin Trudeau and his new cabinet will walk up into Rideau Hall to be sworn in by the Governor-General later this morning. Behind Rideau Hall, Rideau Cottage, which isn't a building that was well known to Canadians until perhaps a week ago when it was decided that Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister designate, for a little bit longer anyway, will live with his family, Sophie Gregoire Trudeau and his 3 children, while they decide what's going to happen to 24 Sussex, which is, as we know, in desperate need of renovations. So he's decided to move into that building behind Rideau Hall while they make some decisions about what happens to the official residence just across the ways from where we are today. To give you a sense of what's here on the grounds, not only hundreds of members of the public who have shown up at an open invitation from Rideau Hall and from Justin Trudeau, but also some big screen TVs where they can watch how events unfold inside Rideau Hall. That's not something we've ever seen here before for a swearing in of the cabinet. There are some tents with free coffee and hot chocolate where people can get warmed up. But as I said, quite a lovely day for this first cabinet swearing in. So let's take you outside and talk to some of our reporters who are helping us with the coverage here today. Hannah Thibodeau is there lining the streets with the people, and Terry Milewski, our chief political correspondent, is there as well. Let's go to Hannah first to get a sense of what things are like in the crowd and why people came out here today. Hannah?
Yeah, Rosie, I'm standing actually right at the gates where we will first see Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister designate, and his cabinet walk through. What we're waiting for, the team now of 28 cabinet ministers is going to arrive on a bus at 24 Sussex Drive. That is directly across from me right now. Currently, there are still people who are streaming in to come and see this event today because, as you were mentioning, this is open to the public. Not only open to the public, but the first time, really, that there has been an official invite for the public to come and see what is happening and watch this actually take place. And if we look over to this side here, this is actually, you'll see a bunch of people who are waiting for the cabinet and the Prime Minister designate to arrive. There's also all of the cameras. That is going to happen any minute now. So that is something that we're standing here watching. There are a few, I'd say there's about 50 or 60 people, too, who are waiting to see this actually happen. And I was into the crowds a bit earlier. There is a lot of excitement. There's a lot of enthusiasm. And I'm going to talk to one lady a little bit later. She actually has a dress with Pierre Elliott Trudeau's face on it. You're going to want to watch that. Why does she have that dress? You're going to have to wait.
Well, now you know that people will stand by a dress with Pierre Trudeau's face on it. Yeah. Let me just give people a bit of information of how things have unfolded here already. The Governor-General confirming that at this hour, Stephen Harper came to Rideau Hall not long ago and has now officially resigned as Prime Minister of Canada. And there will be a statement by the Governor-General making that all official in a few moments' time, which means that the stage is set for Justin Trudeau to become Canada's 23rd Prime Minister, along with his cabinet. And because we have eagle eyes everywhere in this town, Hannah, we already have some idea of who will be part of that cabinet. People who have been spotted getting onto the small buses that are going to bring members of the new cabinet here and walk up this driveway, which is now lined with really hundreds of people, 2 or 3 deep, along the driveway up to the Governor-General's residence. Look at that. You can see really something that we haven't seen here before, at least in the past decade. Perhaps there have been other instances, but certainly under Stephen Harper's government, things were very different. And you can see people running to get good spots and to try and get a glimpse of the new Prime Minister as well as his new cabinet. And there, in front of the doors of Rideau Hall, the Trudeau family. That's what it looks like to me anyway. Yes, his children. Sophie Gregoire is not there, but those are his children, Xavier. Sophie Grace, and his little child, Hadrian, who turned into such a rock star throughout this election. And of course, there's his mother, Margaret Trudeau, standing alongside them as well. And I would imagine that's their nanny helping them out on a day that's going to prove to be quite busy. Behind them, some of the senior members of Justin Trudeau's staff. They will be waiting here as Justin Trudeau walks up the driveway with his wife, Sophie Gregoire Trudeau, and members of this new cabinet. He will walk along. I believe that's his stepsister there as well, alongside Margaret Trudeau, who's also here. So obviously a big family day for the Trudeaus as they prepare to take office here and form government. Terry Molesky is standing by beside the fountain, not far from those doors there. And Terry, let's just put out some of the names of the people that we have spotted already who may well be part of this cabinet. Do you want me to do that, or do you have some of those names? Okay, so here are some of the people that we expect to show up in mere moments as Justin Trudeau arrives with his cabinet. Already, though, we see his children and his mother, Margaret Trudeau, who must be very nostalgic about how this day is unfolding for her son today, making their way down the driveway and perhaps stopping to talk to some members of the public as they wait for Mr. Trudeau to arrive. Some of the names, though, that we have already spotted in downtown Ottawa that we expect to show up on these buses with Justin Trudeau's first cabinet: Scott Bryson, a longtime Liberal MP from Nova Scotia; Ralph Goodale, longtime Liberal MP as well, former finance minister, and of course an MP from Saskatchewan. We are expecting to see the face of Mélanie Joly, a newly elected Liberal MP from Montreal, close friend of Justin Trudeau's. She also has been spotted in downtown Ottawa today as we look again at Margaret Trudeau and Justin Trudeau's youngest, Hadrian, well dressed for the occasion. Other people that we've already spotted that we expect to be part of this new cabinet: Carolyn Bennett, a longtime Liberal MP as well from the Toronto area; Jim Carr, a Liberal MP newly elected in the city of Winnipeg; Marianne Mahaichuk, another Manitoban elected as well. We have seen her on a bus on her way here to Rideau Hall; Harjit Sajjan. He is a newly elected MP for the region of British Columbia. He also has been spotted, as has Jody Wilson-Raybould, a Liberal MP again in British Columbia. Just some of the names and the faces that we have seen gathering together as they make their way here to where we are, the grounds of Rideau Hall, on this beautiful autumn November day. As you can see, still lots of people lining the streets and more flooding in every moment as Margaret Trudeau and the Trudeau family make their way up. The other difference here today, that perhaps the general public doesn't realize is reporters are roaming freely. Previously, they had been kept behind ropes and sort of relegated to a very small space in front of Rideau Hall. That is not the case today. They can roam around and talk to people as they wish. And there you see the Trudeau family waiting for the arrival of Mr. Trudeau and his wife. Let's bring in Hannah Thibodeau again. She is down by the front gates where she is waiting and listening for the arrival of the new cabinet ministers and talking to some of the general public. Hannah?
Yeah, we're just standing here. We haven't seen the bus arrive yet. It's arriving at 24 Sussex Drive. Then they're going to be walking across the road here. As you were talking about, the first order of business today was for the current Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, to go to Rideau Hall, meet with Governor General David Johnston. And at that time, he officially resigned. After that, we will see Justin Trudeau and his team walk up this road here to go to Rideau Hall. Once they get inside, there's going to be a private meeting with Justin Trudeau and his wife, Sophie Gregoire Trudeau. They will sit down with Governor General David Johnston and his wife, Sharon. That's going to be a very brief meeting. That's just before all of the official ceremonies begin. Then at 10:30, that's when the swearing in begins, Rosemary. That's what everybody's been waiting for. You were talking about some of the names of people who will be in that cabinet. However, First off, the first person to get sworn in, makes sense, it's going to be Justin Trudeau himself, and he has to swear 3 oaths. After he is done, he signs this book, and what that book is essentially the roster, his team roster, all of his cabinet ministers. He hands that over to Governor General David Johnston, and then the official swearing in of all of the cabinet ministers.
Let me just put you on pause for a minute, Hannah. Just behind me, or walking to the left of me right now, is the U.S. Ambassador, Bruce Heyman. He'll be able to see over my shoulder in just a moment. One of the special guests that's arriving here today. We're also expecting, as you know, Hannah, that former Prime Minister Jean Chrétien will be in attendance today, as will former Prime Minister John Turner. So it's sort of turning into certainly a celebration of the Liberal win, but also almost a carnival kind of setting here on the grounds. And there you see again Justin Trudeau's youngest, Hadrian, dressed in a fighter pilot jacket and a toque, although, as I've been saying, it's not the coldest of days. And because we're still looking at Justin Trudeau's children, who are preparing for, and perhaps not realizing how momentous this day is for their dad and for their family, let's cast our minds back, way back to 1980, when Justin Trudeau lived through a moment not unlike what his children are going to live through. There you can see him sitting in the front row, yawning, in 1980, as his father, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, prepares to be sworn in, and his 2 brothers sitting there beside him, not quite as bored, but perhaps a little bored. So we'll see if his children are able to better hide their fatigue or their boredom at what can sometimes be a long ceremony, certainly for children. But the full circle moment of that, not lost on anyone here today, certainly not lost on his family, his mother, and himself, and will undoubtedly make it quite poignant for him as well. So, just to give you an idea again, where we are, just down the driveway from Rideau Hall, of course, the official residence of Canada's Governor General David Johnston. And as you can see behind me, really a packed Rideau Hall grounds in a way that we have not seen before for this swearing in of Canada's 23rd Prime Minister. And to bring you up to date on where we are in terms of the timeline, as of this hour, the outgoing Prime Minister, and he is now gone, Stephen Harper, has officially resigned to the Governor General as we await the arrival of Justin Trudeau with his wife and his new cabinet. And to give you a sense of how that will unfold, there are a couple of buses that will pull up at the gates of Rideau Hall just across the street from 24 Sussex, and they will make their way up this driveway here behind me, which is a fairly long one. And I imagine there will be some cheering, and there will be a few moments to shake hands with people too, because we have seen, of course, since the election and throughout, but perhaps more importantly since the election, that Justin Trudeau has not shied away from stopping to take selfies with the crowd, shake hands, and get right into the thick of things, even if it's not always the thing that security wants. And he's made it clear to his people and to the RCMP that that's something that he wants to be able to continue to do. Those are the front gates of Rideau Hall there, you can see. More people lining the street as well. And if you look just across the street past that flag, that is, of course, where 24 Sussex is. Again, lots of conversation in the past couple of weeks about what to do about the official residence of the Prime Minister, which has been flagged as an ongoing problem for the past decade, really. Renovations to the tune of $10 million or more. There's asbestos inside that building, and it's why Justin Trudeau decided that his family would not, in fact, move into it, but instead moved into a cottage, although it's not really a cottage, it's a big house behind Rideau Hall called Rideau Cottage, and it's where they have set up, very much in the same neighborhood as where they were living, so their children didn't have to change school, and still a comfortable place and close enough where he can get to where he needs to go. And you can still see people running into the grounds of Rideau Hall, trying to get the best spot before things start to unfold. And we are expecting things to unfold any moment. Justin Trudeau is scheduled to arrive at around 9:45, so that could be within moments. From that moment, the Prime Minister designate, because he's still not the Prime Minister quite yet, and his wife, Sophie Gregoire Trudeau, will begin to walk up this main drive on their way to Rideau Hall. And it's not until 10 a.m., as you heard from Hannah there, that they will meet with His Excellency, the Right Honourable David Johnston, and his wife, Sharon Johnston. That will be a brief, sort of informal meeting before the actual ceremony gets underway in the ballroom where there will be the first swearing in, of course, of the Prime Minister himself before we proceed to hear who the rest of the cabinet members are. Let's go back to Hannah Thibedeau now, who has made her way up from the front gates and is close to where the people are. And that's part of the story here today, not just the names, but the fact that there are so many Canadians out who wanted to see this moment, which everyone agrees is a historic one. Hannah, give us a sense of where you are and who's around you.
Rosie, if you turn to your left, I am right in the crowd in front of Rideau Hall. This crowd has been here pretty early this morning, and they were still streaming into the front gates. I literally just ran up from the front gates. So look at these guys. They have told me how excited they are to be here to witness this event, because really this is the first time that crowds have officially been invited. They were invited on Twitter. People learned about it. And in fact, we had people coming from the United States to come see this event today. But I am going to talk to this lady. I was promoting this a little bit earlier. How can you not talk to a person who has a paper Pierre Elliott Trudeau dress? And in fact, Catherine McDonald, right here, look, give that a model. She's doing a great job modeling that dress, and she has fantastic blue fingernails. Tell me about this dress.
Well, when I was in grade 9, I lived in Ottawa, and my friend Sue got me to work on Pierre Elliott Trudeau's leadership campaign, and we stuffed envelopes together. Paper dresses, 1967, were the big fashion, and so, of course, I had to have a dress. My friend here has the button, so we're new best friends now.
So you're new best friends, but you wore this dress. Your dad made you wear it to kind of irk the neighbors.
We moved back to Halifax in 1968, and my father would say, he being a strong Trudeau fan, why don't you put on that dress, and then we'll go walking up the street and bug the neighbors.
Now, I just want to see, looking behind you, there's some of the staff members. That's Jerry Butts, who's giving a big hug there, getting some applause. These are the staff who actually worked on the campaign. We see Gerald Butts. We see also in there Katie Telford. And, of course, we are talking to the crowd here who are excited even to see them. Rosie.
Yeah, who knew that staffers were this famous as well? But they're also doing the walk and getting the cheers there. Katie Telford ran this campaign along with Jerry Butts, and both of them are expected to take, as you know, Hannah, key roles inside the Prime Minister's office. Katie Telford is expected to be the Prime Minister's new Chief of Staff, and Jerry Butts likely to get the job of really senior advisor or principal secretary inside the Prime Minister's office. They were both seen as not only the key figures to help Mr. Trudeau win this election, but as an extremely good duo that worked together. And so they will take up the mantle of helping Mr. Trudeau actually do some of the things that he's promised to do for Canadians. You also saw in that crowd Cyrus Reporter, who was Justin Trudeau's chief of staff, as he was a member of the third party. Because remember, he started in third when all of this began, and now he's formed a majority government. Cyrus Reporter as well will be inside the Prime Minister's office. We're hearing more cheering right now as we see the arrival of... That's right. Unbelievably, that cheering is for none other than CBC's chief correspondent, Peter Mansbridge, who's just rolling up now and is going to join me in mere moments. Even he gets cheers today, as well he should. And that just gives you a sense of probably the sense of excitement here too, right? There's a lot of people here, a lot of people that have turned up to see what everybody knows is a big moment in Canada's history, as we see this the son of a former Prime Minister now become Prime Minister himself. So again, let's take a moment to live that full circle moment. Let's go back to 1968, where you see the arrival of Pierre Elliott Trudeau on these same grounds, to this same building in black and white footage, arriving to become Prime Minister himself. Of course, a long time ago, a very different crowd behind him, and today you will see how Canada has changed and how Canadian politics have changed since that moment. Mostly white gentlemen, part of that cabinet, crowding around Mr. Trudeau. Today, it's going to be quite the different story as we see a more diverse group and, as we know, a gender-balanced group as well that are going to arrive and walk down that driveway in mere moments. There again, Justin Trudeau's family, his children, and his mother awaiting Justin Trudeau's arrival. And let's go down by the fountain now, where I believe we have with us Terry Molesky. Terry, give me a sense of what you're hearing, what you're seeing.
Well, quite a buzz here by the fountain. We're just in front of Rideau Hall, where we have a good view of the awaiting Trudeau family, waiting the new Prime Minister, who will soon be able to drive